Today I want to start by going over the pencil tool. You'll find it here. It looks like a little pencil. If you don't see it immediately, click and hold to get options. You might see the shaper tool first. Click and hold on that and then drag down to the pencil tool and select the pencil tool. The pencil tool, like the pen tool, is another way to draw shapes, except it's a free-form draw, which means you can use your mouse or your trackpad, click drag, and freely draw. You'll notice there's a little asterisk at the bottom of my pen to show me I'm creating a new shape. Again, that turns into a circle when I'm about to close my shape. So if you want a fully enclosed object, make sure that you draw and then come back to the beginning and wait until you get that circle and then let go. So with the pencil tool, you can draw free-form shapes. You can also draw lines, so you do not need to connect them to make a shape. You can always, with the selection tool, click on those and adjust the thickness or change the width to something less uniform, or even put a stroke on it and give it a little bit more of an interesting finish. That's the pencil tool. I also wanted to show the shaper tool. So the shaper tool can do a lot of different things. One thing it can do is you can freeform draw with it, and it automatically converts it to a crisp shape. So if I click and drag and draw out a really rough rectangle, it's going to convert that to a nice, clean, crisp, geometric shape. You can do that with a circle as well, or a polygon. With the shaper tool, you can also merge shapes. So I've brought these three shapes together. They're now in what's called a shaper group. I made sure they were all selected. And now if you scribble, starting in one, moving into the other, that merges that shape so you get one kind of cutting into the other. Now the nice thing about the shaper tool is I can change this at any time so I don't lose the information about any of these shapes. If I select this and then select the shaper tool, I can come here to edit these back into individual shapes. So taking this little arrow and going up, and now come in with my shaper tool and select the line of a shape. And now you can see that I've brought that shape back out. I can move it around again, and it stays merged with my heart shape unless I bring it completely out of the bounding box. So the nice thing about creating merged shapes with the shaper tool is they're always editable and adjustable. At any time I can go get this triangle again by clicking on the outline of it and dragging it to somewhere new, or dragging it outside of the shaper group. So I've brought a group of shapes together to show you another shape merging tool, and I've got them all selected. I'm going to come here now to the shape builder tool. And I want to show you how this is different from the shaper tool. So the shape builder tool also merges multiple shapes when they're all selected. And you can vary the way they merge. So you'll see if I come over to this shape, it's grayed out. I can now click and drag across and merge these two shapes together. Now, if I come in, I see that I have a shape with the circle merged with the triangle and a corner of the rectangle cut out. If I bring it back over, select, use the shape builder tool, I can select this shape individually and this one now. And when I pull them away, see that I've got several parts made out of these intersecting shapes. Now these are stuck this way. I can't select this and get it back to what it was before. Whereas with the shaper tool, those shapes are always editable and transformable. So they stay with their missing data, and at any time I can go back and get that circle again. Whereas with the shape builder tool, this is now one form, and that circle has been merged and I can't get it back as a circle on its own anymore. Even if I click into this, it's fully merged into the other shape. Again, if I come to this shape now, select it, if I click on this and double click to get me into the shaper group, I can now select individual shapes within the shaper group and drag them apart. So my original shapes always remain. Notice the shape that I created with the shape building tool, no matter how much I click on it, it stays one single shape. So that's the shaper tool versus the shape builder tool. It's useful to know because sometimes you may want to take your merged shapes apart. So keep in mind that the shaper tool is the one that is editable later. The shape builder tool, you can always tweak things with the direct selection tool, but you can never get your shapes back out of the merge once you've merged them. Next thing I wanted to show you is the smooth tool. So let's say you've drawn a freehand curve, but you want it to look a lot smoother. You choose this tool and you run it along your freehand curve, and it smooths it out for you. Make sure that curve is selected. Come in with the smooth tool, and notice how it takes away a lot of the anchor points as it's doing this. You can do this as many times as you want, and it's going to keep simplifying that curve and smoothing it out for you. If you want to fine tune it, you can always use the direct selection tool once you've got a simplified number of anchor points, and you can adjust the curve more manually. Again, make sure your object is selected or your curve is selected. Come with the shaper tool and draw over that area to get it simplified. And go as many times as you need to until you have the curve that you want. We also have the path eraser tool. This allows you to erase a part of a path. Make sure it's selected. Come in with the path eraser tool, and you can see kind of breaks your path up into multiple pieces. Next tool in this panel that I want to show you is the join tool. Let me first, with the pencil tool, draw a few example shapes that we can use the join tool with. So sometimes when you're freehanding shapes, you don't hit that circle as you finish a shape as well, and you get these overhanging tails. And sometimes you get lines that you want to intersect, or they're close but they don't quite close. So let's use the join tool on a couple of these. First, let's come to these little fishtails hanging off of this circle that I'd like to get rid of. So using the join tool, I'm going to draw over those and kind of scrub them out. Over here, same thing, using the join tool, kind of scrubs out those tails for me, and I'm left with one unified shape instead of two intersecting lines. Same here, I have a unified shape. Let's see what happens if they're not connected. I come in with the join tool, draw across from one to the other, and look, it's joined my shape for me. So this is really useful if you're drawing shapes freehand and you notice they're not connecting. You can come in with the join tool, draw across, and as long as both those lines are selected, it will know to join them for you. Now, instead of two lines, I have one. I know that was a lot, but the main thing for beginners to remember is that with the pencil tool, you can freehand draw, and the other tools are more advanced and you can explore them further later.